Good morning, everybody, and I want to thank Vinay for including me in this instruction course. I'll be speaking upon optic disc and automated perimetry, clinical correlation. When considering glaucoma triad of raised intraocular pressure, visual fields, disc changes. The most important is disc changes because there may be normal intraocular pressure as you get in normal tension glaucoma, there may be normal fields as you get in pre-perimetric glaucoma, but there cannot be normal disc in any glaucoma. Hence, it has a diagnostic importance. The clinician must be competent to distinguish normal disc from abnormal, to diagnose glaucomatous disc, and to correlate disc findings with perimetric findings, which is very important. Vinay has already covered this CD ratio, and normal CD ratio is 0.1 to 0.4. It's important to document the size of the CD ratio, peripapillary atrophy and disc hemorrhage whenever you see a disc. There may be variation in CD ratio. All these three pictures are showing different CD ratios, but they are all normal because the size of the disc are different. So large size have large discs, we all know. Small discs have small cups, and ethnicity and gender variations are also reported. In the first picture, it's a small disc, so very small CD ratio. The last picture has a very large disc, so large CDR. There may be variation due to asymmetric disc. These are the photographs of same patient showing left optic disc larger as compared to the right, and so the left CD ratio would be different. There may be variation due to physiological cupping. Disc is large here, CD ratio is 0.5, which is seen normally in more than 5%. Neuroretinal rim is healthy, intact and thick. Isn't rule is obeyed. There are no signs of retinal nerve fiber layer defects as seen clearly that these striations are very clearly obvious. Both eyes have same disc. So they are cases of normal physiological cupping. But if there is cup asymmetry more than 0.2, that is suggestive of glaucoma. If the disc is same, but the difference in the CD ratio is more than 0.2, so left eye has glaucoma. Before interpreting automated perimetry, we must know the anatomy of retinal nerve fiber layer. And we all know that the superior and the inferior pole of the disc are the area where most of the retinal nerve fiber layer from the temporal retina are entering. There is a median raphe which is present, divides the superior half from the inferior half, where the fibers do not cross. There is a papillomacular bundle which enters the disc on the temporal side, and the nasal retina have fibers going on the nasal side. So most of the fibers from the retina are entering either at the superior pole or the inferior pole of the disc. This isn't rule because of this anatomical distribution of fibers, and the inferior rim is wider as compared to the superior, then nasal and then temporal. The nerve fiber defects would be seen like wedge defects in a glaucoma patient, otherwise there won't be any defects. So, nerve fiber layer defects due to damage at the optic disc correlates with the specific defects on visual fields. Superior and inferior poles of the disc is more susceptible to glaucomatous changes, hence superior and inferior scotomas are found. Coming to the difference between glaucomatous and neurological visual fields. The glaucomatous visual fields are because of the RNFL defects, hence they are limited by the horizontal raphe, whereas the neurological fields are limited by the vertical line. This is a case of bitemporal hemianopia. So these are vertical defects, whereas these are horizontal defects. This is the most basic thing when you interpret a visual field in glaucoma. There are various visual field defects starting from the paracentral scotoma, acute scotoma, nasal step, altitudinal defect, advanced defect and temporal wedge. Coming to paracentral scotoma, this is a relative or absolute island of vision defect which is seen in early glaucoma. It is seen within 10 degrees of fixation and it is due to RNFL defects at the inferior pole of the disc. So this is the fundus picture. The damage is here and you get a scotoma here. They may be single or multiple in this region. Then you get arcuate scotoma, and it is seen within 10 to 20 degrees of fixation. It arches from the blind spot. It arches from here, this is the blind spot, and ends in the nasal raphe. And it becomes wider and more dense as it goes towards the nasal raphe. The site of the damage, as you can see, is here on the optic disc, and these are the fibers which are damaged. So if you see a picture like this, all these fibers are gone and you are getting a defect on the opposite side on the visual field. This is a patient showing inferior notching. Isn't rule is not obeyed. Glaucoma is present, and you get a typical superior defect, superior arcuate defect here. Similarly, there can be notching in the superior side. This is the optic disc showing the superior rim is less as compared to the inferior rim. So, although isn't rule is obeyed, which says that inferior is wider as compared to superior, but still you can get glaucoma, and you get the defect in the inferior arcuate zone with a nasal step. The nasal step is a relative depression of one half of visual field as compared to the other half. We get altitudinal defect. It is near complete loss of superior field because all the fibers from here to here are damaged, and hence we get the opposite side, we get complete hemifield loss, which is seen in moderate to severe glaucoma. This is a picture showing inferior complete loss of the disc, the neuroretinal rim with peripapillary atrophy, and you get a typical superior altitudinal defect. There may be double arcuate when both the superior as well as inferior rim thinning is present. Then you get defect in the superior as well as inferior fields. The advanced fields, there is retention of small central island and inferior temporal field. Rest everything is gone. This is a picture showing a case of advanced glaucomatous optic atrophy. You can see the CD ratio is almost 0.9. On 24-2, there are no pattern deviation plot. When 10-2 is done, you can see the severe damage which is seen in this patient. But things aren't always as they seem. You can see a picture like this showing typical inferior arcuate scotoma or inferior altitudinal defect. But when you see the disc, it is a small crowded disc showing diffuse or focal sectoral pallor suggestive of non-arthritic anterior ischemic optic neuropathy. So it's not that the fields are important, it's important that you correlate it with the disc finding. Similarly, in case of papilledema, there may be enlarged blind spots and you may think of glaucoma. This is a picture of coloboma showing the typical superior altitudinal defect. When you see the fundus, there is a coloboma of the disc causing this defect. Similarly, tilted disc can mimic as glaucoma. There may be a retinal scar like this which can create a defect typically in the inferior side suggestive of glaucoma. So while assessing a visual field printout, it is important to remember the pathogenesis of glaucoma. Glaucoma is unlikely to affect only one part of retina, keeping rest intact, and it is essential that visual field defect fits with the optic disc finding. There are many neuroimaging modalities for glaucoma detection, but they do not replace a thorough, methodical and systemic assessment of optic disc. Thank you.